Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe, brought to you by Entrigue magazine. I'm your host, Keri Singleton, and today we welcome Khaliah Clark to this show. How are you, sweetheart?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're so animated today. I've known Khaliah forever. We're really good friends, so it's great to have you on the couch.
Thank you. I haven't never been on the couch, so I'm excited. I've been on chairs with you, but no couches.
Right, when I did radio, but yeah, we're here on TV now. Well, this is not a question that I planned on asking you, but I'm surprised at this point that you haven't just taken the name Khaliah and dropped the last name.
I love my Clark.
You love your Clark?
I love Clark. It makes me feel sophisticated. Khaliah Clark. But if I was to ever do like anything like out in the ordinary, it'd just be one word, Khaliah.
It'd just be Khaliah.
Like my clothing line would just be Khaliah.
Yeah, because you're a one name.
I'm a one namer. Okay, going into the new year, whenever that comes, I'm gonna be Khaliah.
Okay, see, I brought it to fruition. Let's start with my first question here, and I got a lot of them.
Yeah, that looks like a thick stack.
Yeah, it's a book today.
I feel like you're giving me, you're digging in the crates.
I'm going to dig in the crates, yes. This isn't your first interview, of course, but this is going to be one of the most intense.
Ooh, I'm
Or at least we're going to try.
Let me pull my boots up.
I'm just kidding. First thing I want to ask you is, when did you fall in love with clothes? Because first of all, let everybody know what you do.
Today I am a celebrity fashion stylist.
Today you are a celebrity fashion
I'm sitting on this couch. This is what got me here. It's award-winning, lifetime achievement recipient.
We're going to get into all of that,
I am blessed to be here, and I'm blessed to be a stylist. I started at the rough age, I guess.
Okay, no. Don't take my job.
Okay.
Just one.
I'm a celebrity fashion stylist, product placement queen.
Okay.
Branding expert.
With the crown.
With the crown? I forgot my crown.
Okay. So now I want to go back, step back, and ask, when did you first fall in love with clothes?
When I was a little girl, because I'm a teen mom that didn't get a show. So if I became a mother at 15.
And you're taking my job again.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
This is what happens when you interview a host.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to give it in depth because it all goes together.
But it's here, though.
I fell in love with clothes at like 10.
10 years old?
10.
Really? So, did you dress dolls up as a 10-year-old?
At 10 years old, they had the Barbies that you would cut. It was like you cut the Barbies' clothes out and it was like this workbook kind of thing. It was like so I would take out the Barbies' clothes, cut it, but then I would extra cut it and add my own thing to it, my own pizzazz. So I've always loved fashion.
Okay.
Always loved stealing my sister's clothes.
Right.
And giving it to my friends and dressed them up.
Terrible. So you've always been Khaliah Clark.
You've
always been Khaliah Clark ever since you were 10 years old. Growing up in West New York, New Jersey. So a lot of people don't really understand that West New York, New Jersey is a place. It is not a part of New York City. It is not a part of New York State. It is called West New York, New Jersey because it's west of New York.
Right.
So it's a town in Hudson County.
That has bred a lot of stars. Like a lot of people come from there, and a lot of people get rich and move over there.
Okay. Interesting town. I visited.
You like it?
I visited. I love the food.
You came to my church.
Yes, I love the food. I love the culture. What was it like growing up in West New York, New Jersey?
Different. I was a black girl in the Spanish community. It was very few of us, and all of us said we were cousins.
Right. I noticed that when I went over there, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. Nobody spoke English, and I was wondering, wow, Khaliah grew up here. What was that like? You were the minority by far.
Right, and I was always the black girl with the Spanish friends. I have one black friend. Her name's Khaliah. Growing up with all the Spanish girls.
Right.
I guess I adapt to their culture because I grew up there, so I would speak fake Spanglish and think I was Spanish. That's why I dated Spanish guys in the beginning of growing up and realized that stopped very quickly.
Did that have anything to do with your influence, you think, in terms of
culture? Where I was at? Yeah, definitely.
Clothes.
Oh, clothes? Yeah. No, because no disrespect to any Spanish girls, because they'll all kill me when I say this, but I influenced them. They definitely did not influence me. The Spanish girls back then, growing up, they wore everything that I wasn't into.
Okay. So they're not even in the least were you influenced by the Spanish culture?
Yeah, only that they got to wear their skirts really, really short, and I was into that.
Okay.
And my mother was not into that for me. But yeah, like they wear crop. The Spanish culture is very tight fitting, croppy.
Very, very sensual.
Yes, even at 70, their grandmother still thinks she's down with us. So yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted to know, what was high school like for you?
Well, high school was not fun because I was pregnant.
Okay. Well, and how old, what grade?
I was a freshman. He got me young. He got me good.
Okay.
So I would go to school in the morning and then go to a VOTEC in the afternoon.
What's a VOTEC?
A vocational school. So I would learn a trade. So God bless the dead. Her name was Dr. Lillian Cave. I was one of the first young girls to go into this program that they set up for young girls who were having babies.
Okay. Well, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. I've met your daughter. She's awesome.
Yep, and her name is Moet, so let's da-dum, boom, boom.
Yep. she's such a sweetheart.
Yes, my baby.
Being a teen mom, like first of all, what was it like for you when you found out?
I was scared. I knew I was going to get in trouble. My whole family.
How old were you?
I was 15 when I conceived. I was 16 when I had the baby.
Okay.
Very disappointing to my family. I knew it because she was fast, you know how your families are. And then I was an athlete, so that really hurt, like my coaches. I was a track runner, cheerleader, volleyball, basketball. So as an athlete, it ruined me. But when I think about it, because I talk about this now, a lot of people start asking me. Yeah. I just didn't believe in abortions. I didn't want to be a mom, but I just felt like, having a baby is a privilege. So I don't really know what I was doing. That's why I always say I'm a teen mom without a show, because literally I was the first out of all my friends to have a baby. And it really changed me completely, because my child's father was older than me. So I was 15, he was like 19. Okay. He was Spanish, Ecuadorian. And he was the first guy that showed me the most attention out of all the attention that I really got. And he had some money, so at that time. And that was my goal, like, I'm going to be with this drug dealer and I'm going to be rich and we're just going to live this hood life. And that just didn't really happen.
But your mom, who I've met, she is such a solid sister. I met her for the first time at your church, and we'll get into that later in the show. But I know that you're very close to your mom.
Oh, my mom is my everything.
Right. So how did being a young, expecting mom, how did that correlate with your relationship with your mom?
My mom was very disappointed. It hurt her tremendously. She had very high hopes for me. Like I said, I was an athlete, very outgoing. So her vision was never for me to be 15 with a baby. Yeah. I lied to her. Like, someone had told her I was pregnant, and she came home and asked me. I was like, no, who would tell you that? Right. And so when at a point, there was no hiding it. It literally, like, my stomach was like this big. Yeah. And I had to, admit to my mom that I was pregnant. She's like, what are you gonna, like, who's gonna take care of this baby? Like, you don't have an education, like, you have to work. And honestly, if it wasn't for my mom and my grandmother, I don't even know how I would have survived that ordeal.
It's interesting. Around the time, what year would that have been?
That's 1996. Okay, so that's that I gave birth. 1995 that I conceived.
I was thinking you might be a little too young to remember, but Madonna had a big hit in
like
the
a
80s.
Virgin?
No.
Which one?
Papa Don't Preach.
Oh, Papa. That was the first. I love Madonna, and I would sing that to but the funny thing is, Papa Don't Preach, we would sing Mama Don't Preach. And then the most funniest one for me was, I used to make fun of the girl. There was a commercial, after school special. It was like, I met this guy and I didn't say no. Now I have a baby, waiting for the shitter to show just so I could go to class. And you know who never comes? The guy who say he loved me forever. And I used to watch that commercial and I used to be like, oh my God, like, guys are so dumb and whatever. And that became my life. Like, so you got to watch everything that you say. You got to be careful, like, what you make fun of, what you think is funny, because that could be your life. And if I could tell my younger self something, would be keep walking. Keep walking. Boys are cool and they're cute and they'll tell you anything, but the life lessons that come out of dating, and I think a lot of girls will say this, is like, it's very rare you love who you love when you're 15. So when you run into women who be like, oh, I'm with my high school sweetheart and all that, God bless them, because I did say to myself only one time, and that's later on in life, that I was like, oh, well, if I would have known what I've known now, I could have just trained him better. I could have just, like stuck with him and just went through the hardships, because you go through it with every man. You know what I mean? And me being so young, having a baby, I never felt like I was good enough for anybody, because I always came into the relationship with something, which was my daughter.
Right.
And then you can't bring your daughter around a bunch of guys. So it was really tough. I don't think I really started dating till like I was in my 20s.
So just to rewind a little bit on the subject, pregnancy and giving birth.
I almost died. That was, now that was scary, because when you see now when they talk about black women dying and giving birth, that was gonna be my story.
Wow.
Literally had preeclampsia, came into the birthing room, and all I remember them saying, I see the doctor, like I'm giving birth, and I just see the doctor, like, she won't stop bleeding. She won't stop bleeding. And he's taking, I guess, like, it looked like towels, and he's like pushing it and it's pulling it right back out. And I'm just looking at my child's father, and I'm like, if I die, just take care of my daughter. And literally, like, they put my daughter on my chest. They said I woke up a whole day later. I slept, because I lost so much blood.
Wow.
I slept a whole day later, and I didn't even realize that I was sleeping for that long.
Right.
My mom came, prayed over me, she said, and they said it was a miracle, because I lost so much blood. Like, if I would have lost like a little bit more, they would have had to give me a blood transfusion.
Oh, wow. So she was a miracle baby.
A super miracle.
Yeah.
As big as I was 200 pounds. My daughter was 6 pounds, 11 ounces.
Wow.
That was all water, and I had the worst pregnancy. And that's why I think I only have one child, because I was so young. I didn't know what I was doing. I was eating all the wrong foods. I didn't go to prenatal care till like 6 months of giving, like, finding out that I was pregnant. Because I didn't really know I was pregnant. The only reason I even thought something was wrong with me was because I was getting my period, but I wasn't getting it for too long. So I kept saying, well, I'm getting my period, because I'm 15, so I'm like, I'm still getting my period. But like, my body felt weird. Certain things that I was doing, I was smoking cigarettes, like stupidness, and it made me nauseous. So I knew something was wrong with me.
Wow. But she's here.
She's here. She's beautiful. Here. She's 28.
Yeah, 28
so now I'm a
years
MILF.
old. Yes. And what advice have you given your daughter in terms of motherhood and what you've learned?
Your VV is a treasure box. I always used to tell her, whenever you unlock that treasure box, the number goes up, it never goes down. So whenever you decide to have sex, if it's 1, it goes 1, 2, not 2, 1.
Explain.
Meaning, like, I always tell,
the value?
No, just your numbers. So it's like when you're
right.
And as a woman, I think, we're trained, we're growing up, you live a fairy tale. So it's like, I want to grow up, I want to get married, I want to have a husband. And that's not what I told my daughter. I told my daughter, because we grew up together, she was a live doll. You know what I mean? So it's like when kids play with dolls, I really had a real one that called me mommy and did it all. So I just told her, like, don't rush too quick. Whatever if you're gonna have sex, wait. Trust me, wait. Because it'll be funner. I said, I had a baby at 16. Like, think about all the things that you had to go through. Like, my daughter was always stigmatized growing up. Oh my God, that's your mom? Because I looked much younger than all the other moms. Or even to this day, they look at me and they'll be like, how old is your mom? Like, you know what I mean? And then she has to tell. So I know that it was hard for her, and I would just try to tell her, like, block everything out. Like, don't worry, I got you. Like, don't worry, like, whatever anybody says, whatever you hear about me, whatever they say, it's just perception versus truth. Go by what I show you. And she would always defend me, like, my mom never missed a game, my mom's this, my mom's that. But the perception to everybody was, like, Right,
very different. Wow. We have a lot more to talk about, and we'll be right back with Khaliah Clark on Sessions Cafe right after this. And we're back here on Sessions Cafe with Khaliah Clark. And you've overcome so much, and we haven't even gotten to the meat yet of the story. Obstacles. We've all had them in our lives. You've lived a storied life in your young years, which we'll get into more of that, of course, as the show continues. But when I say obstacles, I'm going to use that one word. What comes to mind?
Just being able to take care of my child, being able to provide on my own, and not having my mom or my grandmother or her godmother help me. I was very blessed. I mean, when they say a village helped me, a village helped me.
Yeah.
And when I look back over my life, the obstacles to me were obstacles that I created because I had a baby at 15 years old. So life wasn't supposed to be easy for me. This is a choice that I made, which was to be a mother. So like going to school, like I didn't like school. Like I just didn't like it. I didn't want to go. So that was a tough obstacle for me. Dealing with my child's father, like accepting the fact that like I always felt like I was his test tube, like, the test study, because I was his first child's mother. Then he went on to have 6 kids and kind of like did not take care of my daughter until much later on in life. Right. So just living in a town with your child's father, walking past them in the street, like, hey, when you're gonna come see your daughter? Right. Always wearing the scarlet letter, always having to, prove to people that I'm more than just a light-skinned girl with freckles, or to guys I was cute, that I actually had a brain, that I could think. I was not, I guess, I don't know if you can say this on TV, but the words that people label you, promiscuous, fast, always living out of those stigmas that people have labeled me. And I always said, even today, like words like you're crazy, and we joke around sometimes, but those are obstacles that you have to go through, because if people constantly look at you in a certain light or think of you in a certain way, it prevents you to go. So for me, like,
that's a good point.
Yeah, so for me, like, people joke like, oh, we see you pushing a shopping cart, but that's because I sometimes can't take a Uber, what I mean? I don't even have an Uber app sometimes, you know what I mean? So like,
with clothes, we're referring to.
We're clothes. So it's like, or being an entrepreneur, I don't work corporate, so I create my own money. So I have to get that so if people don't pay me on time, I face
or if they don't pay you at all.
Like I've always felt like I've been chasing money my whole career. I was homeless at one time, you know what I mean? And this is all coming from my business. Like,
and people don't see that. When they look at you and they see you walking the runway, and of course we're gonna get into that. I got cards. People see you rocking the runway and hanging out with this celebrity and wearing this outfit. They don't see the struggle. They don't see the obstacles.
You've seen the obstacles. I have 2 storages that I practically live out of because those are my business with my clothes. But like to carry the clothes, like I have sciatica. I have a knee issue. You have
monthly bills.
That have to be paid. And I think the biggest obstacle would be just like the financial part. Like when you're an entrepreneur and you finance everything, even as a stylist, like clothes are my life, like, and it's my money. And I was just told by my apostle to remember that, like, and treat it as such. Like, your clothes have value. So stop, because I used to tell her, I gave away $3 million worth of clothes. Remember I said that before? And he's like, but I don't have $3 million in the bank. He said, but you've touched $3 million. You have to know that. So I just feel like, the obstacles are going to come, but the biggest one would be finances, to like really stay the course, knowing that I've been on sets with no money, like no money. Like if they don't pay for my Uber, I'm going to hop the train. No, I'm going to hop the train to get home.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Where does your strength come from?
My strength comes from, my strength comes from my daughter, because I've done this because when she was younger, I wanted to be able for her to say my mom was a celebrity fashion designer or something, I didn't go to college.
You wanted your daughter to be proud of you.
Right, and I didn't go to college, so I didn't have anything to fall back on. So I just wanted her to be proud of me. Like, I didn't go to school for this, and I speak at all the schools, FIT, FV. So I'm really Jada Pinkett. I hustled my way into this industry. They gave me a chance. I thank my friends, everybody that was in position. There's so many different positions so many people I can name. But I'm thankful that through everything that I've been through in life, I'm still here. It's my faith in God. It's my church family, especially my church, man. Like, when people don't pay me and I'm facing certain things, to be able to go to your church, your pastor, because a lot of people go to church, but they can't even speak to their pastor. Like, let's be clear.
That's true.
Like, it's about how you tithe and different things like that.
Yeah,
I don't go to this big major church, but we have mega blessings.
Right.
So big shout out to my apostle, Anthony Smith from GBC Ministries. Like, they've really sold into my business.
And you've been going to that church
since I was since
forever,
a little girl. Like,
yeah.
my grandmother, church is 100 years old. My great grandmother was the pianist. My grandmother was the treasurer. My mother's now the treasurer and an evangelist. It's my home church.
Yeah, you grew up there.
Grew up there.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of visiting, as we'll talk about, and so warm, so welcoming on Easter.
Right, and they still talk about you coming to this day. Thank you.
And that's where your strength comes from.
My strength comes from knowing that there's a God, and a lot of people aren't religious, but if I look over my life and where I came from, 15 pregnant, 16 said there'll never be anything, 17, 18, 19 still making it, going to Paris, creating my own fashion shows, doing everything on my own. Everything that I said I ever wanted to do, I've somewhat accomplished it so far. I want to be a celebrity fashion stylist. I didn't even know what that was. I didn't. I saw Misa in a hot tub. I want to do what she does. She named me an award-winning celebrity fashion stylist. She honored me with June, Warrior Rice, all the big stylists. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. At that time, I'm not rep by any agency. Everything I've done is just straight guerrilla marketing, straight hustling, word of mouth. And the fact that I'm sitting here today is of nothing but God. Most people would quit. Most people cannot do it the way I do it. Everybody yells at me. Why you don't get this budget? Why are you doing this for free? And who are you doing that? Why you can't tell your landlord credit? And I tell this to people all the time. You'll work 1,000 free projects till you get to where you're at, and probably even when you're at to that level, then you get to decide what you want to do. They call it giving back, right?
Exactly, yes.
So I don't regret doing anything for free. It's taught me to how to do better business and what your worth is and know your worth.
And I'll say this too, Khaliah. I've learned last year in 2024, one of the biggest lessons that I learned in the previous year was that there are no such things as accidents. Everything happens for a reason, and furthermore, that there's no good necessarily or bad. It's just their life lessons. And the passage you cross in terms of with other people, there's no bad relationships, there's no good relationships, they're just relationships. You have to take from each situation, from your daughter's father to every other professional relationship you've ever had, good or bad. You have to just extract from those situations the good and the bad, and that kind of becomes your journey.
My journey has been nothing but what happens now, Khaliah. If you've been my friend, I can give you a TV show every single day of my life for free with no scripts, no nothing, just waking up. You've been my friend, you've seen it. And I'm blessed. I used to take the drama and be like, everybody's like, you're so dramatic. Now I take the drama and I make it work for me. It's what happened now, Khaliah. Because if you can't go through hardships, you're never gonna understand the victory. Because because being victorious in something is great, and then 2 seconds later, you could get a phone call, somebody died. You could be anywhere, you're gonna get bad news. There's been so many times that no one has known what I've been going through because you're not supposed to. When I got the call to work for June Ambrose, my grandmother was on her deathbed. I had to make a decision. Do I leave my grandmother in hospice because June called? And she called. I don't know if I'll ever get this opportunity again. I left my grandmother in hospice, went, And June was like, what's going on with you? I was like, I can't even lie to you. Like, I just didn't want to miss the call. I just wanted to show up because it's an opportunity. She was like, girl, go to your grandmother's bedside. I respect you for that, but go. You know what I mean? And I just thank God.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I felt like that was my grandmother. Like, you know, I'm going out of here, but you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going.
Yeah. Wow. What are your mom's thoughts on your career choice today?
Don't give up. You're right there, because I quit like every month, like, you know what I mean, because it's hard. The game is getting worse and worse. You know, these young girls, they don't want stylists, they know how to dress, they want labels, they don't care about you. What's a stylist? That's corny. I'm a stylist. I can
style myself.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Right.
My mom tells me to don't give up. She's like, maybe, you know, what's next for you? That's what she literally just asked me yesterday. If you had a dream job, what would it be? And I said, my dream job would be to just go around the world and tell everybody like how great fashion is, and help the kids, and maybe do programs in schools and get paid to like implement and tell these kids like, if people would have told me like it's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
Right.
I would have been way more successful.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you do, they may just fire you just like that.
Right.
Just because they don't care. They came in with a bad day. It's not you.
There's no book on how to succeed in the entertainment industry.
There isn't.
There's no pamphlet.
And if you look at everybody at the highest peak, they come down. So you always tell people you have to be nice at the people going up. I'm nice to the janitor.
Right.
My friend, the other day when we were in Art Basel, Miami, she's like, I see why you get so much. I was like, why? She's like, you're nice to the person who, the guy who held the door for you.
Right.
I'm like, thank you so much. You're amazing. Have a blessed day. You just never know.
It's just supposed to be that way. At least that's what I always thought. So much more to talk to you about. So if it's okay with you, we're going to have you come back next week, and we're going to talk more about Khaliah Clark and who's styling who and who's styling you, if that's okay. We'll see you next week right here on Sessions Cafe with more Khaliah Clark. This is Keri D. Singleton. Stay tuned.